I do a lot of what I call sonic journaling. So some people, when they travel or when they have experiences, they might write words and I record sounds. I found it's a way of making my practice a bit more portable than some of the big percussion instruments that I play, and I've been doing it probably for about 8 years. It started with a year-long project that was part of my PhD in 2012, where I made a short recorded sound work every day for a year. Remix Melbourne is the work that I made for Victoria Together, for Tarawara. It is an online, interactive, multi-MP3 player experience. I think there's 24 different sounds, and each one is in a separate little digital MP3 player. And they're all field recordings made in and around the Melbourne CBD in the hard lockdown at the end of last year, and as the world started to open up again. And each little MP3 is accompanied by an image, and they're all, I think, sights and sounds that people would recognise. There is a tram dinging down the street, there's a pedestrian crossing, there's some of the many, many fountains in the Melbourne CBD. And so what you can do is you can click on the picture and it will start playing the sound, and you can layer as many sounds as you want. You can click and they'll start spinning and playing, and then you can sort of take layers away. And it's just kind of a fun way to play with these sounds that we recognise, and remix your own version of the Melbourne soundscape. The work was commissioned during lockdown. I started sort of documenting some of the walking I was doing around the suburbs of Melbourne where I live, and it was like an Instagram project that I did just for me, where I would make a short recording walking under an underpass or walking past a train station or something like that. And I would take a photo and I would do a short recording, just like 30 seconds, and then I would sort of come home and make a little piece with it, just really quick, just as a way of making doing something creative for myself in that time that didn't take a lot of time and a lot of energy. That evolved into this Remix Melbourne project because, like I said, with the sonic journaling, sound is kind of how I experience the world, and it's how I access sort of memory, and it's a way I document the world. I think living in a city, we're surrounded by so much what people might call noise all the time. There's constant traffic, there's constant construction, there's constant, I know where I live, other people's air conditioners and heaters and all of that stuff. And we might tend to block out a lot of that just to sort of get through the day. But I think there's also a space and a time for actually really listening. For me, field recording is really a lot about memory. And I mentioned before the work I made over a year, which when I listen back to it now, I can really hear the seasons change, the different things we do at different times of the year, and, the autumn leaves. I think it ties into sort of the accessibility of field recording and using recognisable sounds in my work as well, and extending what we think those sounds do or are for. And I think it ties into the sonic journaling for me as well. It's sort of nice. I have amassed all of these kind of recordings and little pieces, and sometimes larger pieces that I've made. I've done residencies in a few countries where I've made a piece over a month recording sounds in a town, and I take photos as well, but I have this kind of sonic memento from that experience. And I made a piece in Mexico just a couple of years ago, and I'd done the same project in Turkey, and there's sounds that are very particular to those places, the call to prayer in Istanbul that I don't hear where I live in Melbourne, and people speaking in language other than English. So I might come home from a trip like that with a small photo album, but also with this kind of sonic artefact that's a reminder of experiences that I had.